My Hoyas have a mind to be making peduncles right now, and I thought it'd be fun to just go around and look at some of those. This is Hoya Vitolina, and first of all, if you want a really fast growing plant that has really decently large leaves, I would highly recommend. This and Hoya affinis are the two that I have that have some pretty decently large leaves and are also really fast growing. Usually in my Hoya collections, it's small leaf Hoyas that can grow and put on all that crazy rapid growth, but these guys are just wild. And then we have Hoya Adavada here that's growing up under as well. But so this is the most recent peduncle, whoops. And nothing real special to look at there. It's a peduncle. And we have this big guy. I think my hand is just going to be in the way, but it's hard to get this to focus otherwise. So again, we've got a little bit of moisture there, which is normal. And we have just a little bit of fuzziness, but it's not really forming into anything that is a noticeable flower bud. And then on that same stem, higher up, we have this one, which was actually the second peduncle that I noticed. And you know, there's so much foliage here. There's probably other peduncles under there that I'm not even aware of. It's just a wild grower. And then I also have one. Hoya Adavada also has a peduncle because it's tangled in the mix. It's hard sometimes to tell who is who, but that is Hoya Adavada's peduncle. And this one has been strange. You can see that it has some length to it. It has tried to produce flowers several times. And for one, my Hoya Adavada does need to be up potted, and so it goes through its water more quickly than it should. And I think what's happened here is it has tried to make flowers and then the buds all just blast because it gets a little too dried out, and so it just panics and stops. But you know, a lot of times it just looks to me like it's just making these buds and then freezing in time, and then it's a little bit frustrating, but it is what it is. I need to up pot it. Poor baby. And Vitolina, same thing. I don't think that it's necessarily drying out too quickly, but it has put so much energy into making just millions, not millions. It has put so much energy into making all these beautiful leaves that it just doesn't want to waste any extra energy, because making flowers it takes a tremendous amount of energy from a plant. And so it just kind of thinks about it and then it just doesn't go through with it. So I don't expect to be seeing any flowers from Hoya Vitolina or Hoya Adavada anytime soon. I think these two will wait a little bit longer, maybe even as long as a year before I get to see any blooms. But I'll keep you updated either way. And then I have this little thing that I want to show you. Do you see it right there? This is Hoya Monoloa. So it's a Hoya compacta with the beautiful wrinkly leaves. And I've got this strange thing happening. And the light is not going to allow us to see much, but it's something. It's something. I don't think it is like a new stem. Not that it couldn't be. It looks pretty peduncle-like to me. And that one, again, I don't expect it to do anything. It's been there for a while, but I just wanted to show you, just in case you're kind of newer to Hoya and you don't know exactly if something coming in is a peduncle or something else. In that case, I think that's what that is going to be. But again, I'll update you. You know, I'll show you anything that changes, and we'll see. This is my big beast of a Hoya Carnosa compacta. Still going. Look at this beauty. Isn't that something? This plant is now as tall as I am if I'm holding it. And I stand at 5'9". I'm no short cake. So yeah, let me show you a peduncle. I'm going to try to get in there so you can see. You can see the flower buds are kind of a deeper red. And yeah, that is some blooms coming on. So exciting, because this plant, I waited for a lot of years for this plant to bloom. If you have followed me on Instagram, I have shamelessly spammed you all with pictures of Hoya blooms, but I can't find any more peduncles now. And you can see why that would be so difficult. In all these crinkly leaves, it's pretty much impossible until basically it's about to bloom, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, there's something pink over there. And this plant, when it blooms, they smell like Tootsie Rolls. It's absolutely the most fantastic chocolatey smell. I love it. Right behind him is my Hoya Brtonier. This is Hoya species affinity Brtonier. And yes, it has blooms all the daggone time. And again, if you followed me on Instagram, then you know, because I have shamelessly spammed you. Let's find something here. These haven't opened yet. Aren't they pretty? Like a real deep magenta. This plant is absolutely fantastic. And it's so funny because I've been watching Plant Me Ashley and Harley G. They both hate the smell of the blooms on this. And I have to think that they have a different plant than I do. And we aren't both growing Brtonier. That's all I can figure, because these blooms smell like movie popcorn. Okay, they just smell like that buttery, and it is absolutely the most fragrant smell, especially because this plant is covered in blooms all the time, and it comes out at night, and I'm telling you, it is fantastic. I don't know, maybe, you know, because there is a lot of confusion about, is it Hoya Adavada, is it Hoya DS70? There have been so many different names and confusing IDs with this plant that, you know, maybe I do have a different one, but also, you know, everyone has their own opinions about how things smell or taste, and maybe that's just what's happening here. But I'm telling you, I love the smell of the blooms on this one. It's so good. All right, I've moved to a different plant shelf, and this is, okay, Hoya Macrophylla Alva Marginata, which, if you haven't watched the, you know what, I'm gonna put a link in the description of this video. He is called Basie Plants, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, and if so, I'm so sorry. And I love his videos. He has a really kind of amazing knowledge, and he was explaining why Hoya Macrophylla is not Hoya Macrophylla. It's like, oh, well, I guess I've been calling this plant and a lot of other plants the wrong thing for a long time. But I'll put the link to that video in the description for this one. You should watch it. It's really, really good. But whatever you are, look at these blooms. I mean, well, some of them are bloomed and some of them are still buds. But yeah, and this is an old one from the first round of blooming. Aren't they pretty? So this plant was different to me. The first time it bloomed, most of the flower buds did not bloom. They just kind of clustered, and I'm going to insert a photo here so that you can see what I'm talking about, because the buds, how am I going to say this so that it makes sense? The peduncle was covered in tiny flower buds, but only a few of them like matured and shot out far enough to where they actually were going to bloom. And so this is the second bloom now, and it seems like it kind of took care of the rest of those. So the ones that didn't actually come out the first time are getting bloomed in this second bloom cycle. So, and it's only been just a few weeks since it bloomed the first time. Really, really pretty. No scent that I can detect, but it's hard for me to do that because right on the shelf above I have a Hoya Carnosa. And if you've ever smelled the blooms of a Hoya Carnosa, you'll know that it's very fragrant and probably could mask just about any other Hoya scent that's coming through. Let me go ahead and show you that. And this is also on our peduncle watch. The light's going to make it difficult, but you can see all of these peduncles that are hanging down through the shelf. How cute. Hi, pretty babies. So we're in all stages of development. I mean, I have little tiny peduncles, I have pretty well-formed ones, and I have some blooming. So let me show you this one. Isn't she pretty? Hoya Carnosa is a treat for the eyeballs, you know, and the nose. This smells very, very floral. That's not the right word. It smells like greenery to me. So like when you walk into a florist shop, like the greenery, that's what it smells like. Oh, Tilly, I swear she barks in every video I make. Right below Hoya Carnosa is Hoya Rebecca. And sorry, I had to get through all the linearis. We have this strange little peduncle that is actually getting ready to bloom, and all of the blooms are right in the dirt, so I'm not going to be able to see those ones. This is one of its parent plants is a Hoya Carnosa. I don't know if you know that about Hoya Rebecca. So the scent is very similar, but I would say it's a lighter scent. It's not like the Hoya Carnosa where you walk in the room and you're like, well, that plant's blooming. It's much lighter than that, kind of like a light perfume, but it is very, very pretty, delicate. Look at this tiny little guy. Look how sweet. So Rebecca is a pretty generous bloomer, not as generous as Carnosa, but pretty generous. Wait, am I gonna show you there? Hanging down through, same thing that Rebecca, or I'm sorry, that Carnosa does. But I mean, is there anything you can think of that colors up prettier than that? That is absolutely stunning. Oh, and one time, there's another one that's gonna bloom straight down. What a strange little plant you are sometimes. One time, one of the peduncles that was actually attached to Hoya Rebecca was peeking through my curtain of Hoya linearis, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have linearis blooms, and I was so excited. And then I realized, oh here, it's probably this one right here that did it. There's a peduncle right there. Well, don't focus, we didn't want to look at it anyway. There we go. Yeah, it had me fooled. For just a second, I was really excited, and then I was like, oh, it was really disappointing. That's the end of this video, my friends. I'm sorry I forgot to film an ending clip, so it's just a little bit of voiceover here, but if you stick around, I have attached a really cute video of my niece when I was babysitting her, and another one of a visitor we had in our backyard. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you all have a fantastic week. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Maisie, who took your toy?